Osiris is the third one, yeah. Yeah, I changed.
You guys are good. Can I get a round of applause for the band? You guys are amazing. This is the No Name Band. They don't have a name until I name them every month. I often forget to name them now. Say it again? Segway. Sandwich. Savory. Oh, gotcha. Savory, yes. We'll get to that later tonight. How are you, sir? You having a good time? Okay. Well, you know, have another drink at this delightful bar, and your time will get exponentially better. How many people are out tonight to have a good time? Make some noise. That's right. We're all here to have a good time. Now, who's gonna help you have a good time better than you? Who's gonna love you better than you? Huh? Nobody. That's right, yeah. Who's gonna love you better than you? Nobody. That's right. I said, who's gonna love you better than you? Nobody. That's right, yo. Who's gonna love you better than you? Yeah. I be like, yeah, who gonna love you better than you? And outside love better than self never been true. You couldn't do it. Gotta find the love within. Yeah, they say that love is a sin, but that's not true. Yeah, I've been loving with the saints. They was like Baxter. Love and anger, that's what it ain't. Sometimes love could change. Like a dollar when it break, it makes change. Pardon me. I'm just getting ready, getting set up. They was like, yo, Baxter, knock it down, but then get up. They was like, I really like yo, get up. On the stage, watch them step up. This will be the poet, you know we gonna televise it. You gonna see some dope acts. Don't be surprised when somebody comes up on stage and starts prophesizing. Then it's a good time you haven't, you just realized it. Open up your eyes, kid. Yeah, you can see it. Baxter Wordsworth. In between the lines where I'm reading, they was like, damn, I could burn like a phoenix, a genius. Plus I'm coming back like I'm Jesus. Yeah, shout out to the band, they be killing it. Let me introduce them cause they real as shit. You can put your hands in the air if you feeling it. You can put your hands by your side if you kinda chillin' shit. But yeah, you know on the roster, the one on the keys is Simona Costa. Yeah, you know she gonna freaking rock it, messing with the keys like a locksmith. They was like, okay. Plus in the pace, you know we got Greek, he be strumming on the bass. You can feel it, yo, it's all up in your face. Please see if you're seated up in the place. Wait a minute. And that ain't just that. Up in the back, you know where it's at. We got the ones on the percussion, his name is Snacks. Everything he do, it could never be whack now. Last but not least, I shouldn't say it. It's the one and only. Her name is Shake Savory. She's always in the place when we be in the place. Yes, never basic. And for what it's worth, I should introduce myself back to Wordsworth. I've been dope ever since the day of my birth. Until the day I return. Back up in the dirt, they was like, yo, Baxter, you could come in first. Matter of fact, yo, make sure that you rehearse. I don't know, wait a minute, hold on. And that is just the power I exert. I'm looking at the light, trying to find the lines that connect them. They was like, yo, Baxter, it's an interception. They could feel it in their breath, yeah, it's so refreshing. Grab a microphone and started blessing. Coming to your rescue. Chilling on the bottom like a vestibule. All up in the attic, they be blessing who. They was like, they see him and they got him. I'm like Bruce Wayne, late nights, running over Gotham. Baxter words have been a problem. Plus, you do the math and that is how you solve it. I melt it down like it's a solvent. They was like, hold up, let's revolve it. Put your hands in the sky if you feeling the vibe. This is, the poet will be televised. Put your hands in the sky if you feeling the vibe. This is, the poet will be televised. Put your hands in the sky if you feeling the vibe. This is, the poet will be televised. Put your hands by your side, you feeling the vibe. This is, the poet will be televised. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. Right now, I'd like to call to the stage.
Hello, and welcome to the Poet Podcast. I'm your host, Dale Novella of The Wreck Life. And we're going to get into, we have a very lively panel today. I'm looking forward to asking this group of guys a bunch of great questions. We also have 4 members of the Trainwalkers band, quote unquote band. Movement. In the room tonight, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. First, on my left, I have Mr. Martin Buh. Matamba.
Yes, that's right. That's
welcome
me.
to the show.
Thank you very much.
Martin is the drummer of the Trainwalkers. He's also a percussionist. And what else you got going on, Martin? Well, you've been here in the country for about a year. You've been playing like busking a little bit. How did you meet Jay, the leader of the Trainwalkers?
Well, the story was actually fucking great.
Okay.
I met Gelasol because I
Okay.
was playing with my brother with another band called the Two Birds Band, and we invite him as a guest. And one of the player of my friends, my brother have a friend who is playing violin, and he knows some MC guys.
Okay.
And he told to Gelasol to come, and then I met Gelasol, and then he told me like, yeah, you sounds fucking cool, man. I need to find you a drummer, or like if you want to jam, you could go to Funkadelic Studio, and this is where everything started. I started going jamming at least 2 or 3 times, and then I met those 2 guys, Jed Zabrik and Adrian Elias, and they were
We can call him
really
AD.
motivated me to take me, and because they didn't have at that time any drummers, so I say yes.
Cool.
Because I was running out of gig, and this is why.
Just desperation. They were
Yeah.
there.
I just did
We're
it 'cause I
happy
needed
to
it.
have you, Martin. And you have a funny accent. Where are you from?
I'm from
That was
originally
sarcasm, but yes.
Paris.
Paris.
Only Paris with the Eiffel Tower and the other landmark.
Now, some people, including Mr. Baxter Wordsworth, feels like Paris is like exactly like New York. It's just
Not
French.
exactly, but a lot like New York.
Yeah.
The only thing that is different about Paris is a little bit smaller, and it's not having those metro running 24 hours over 24 hours. It's only from around 6 a.m. in the morning until midnight or 1 a.m.
Okay.
And after it's closed for at least 4 or 5 hours.
Does that keep it cleaner?
Yeah, this. Yeah. And we, yeah, and you know, as you could find great venues as well, or even like jams, but not as much as here. So this is why I really love here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Cool.
Now, moving on to not only the MC of the Trainwalkers, but the official assistant of Sky's Crescent Radio.
Oh, you leveled up. Oh, I didn't know all that. You leveled up, bro.
That's what he
I
told
didn't know
me
this
the
either.
last
Oh.
time
Okay.
he was here. So I guess that wasn't official.
Was this
but
after Boozy News?
it was after Boozy News.
I guess that was boozy news, huh?
You should check with your administrator, man. Check with your HR department, bro.
So, AD, what's going on?
Yes, my name is Adrian Elias. Thank you for calling out my government
Elias, not
Yes.
Elias? I've been
name.
saying it
Elias, that's
wrong.
Latino.
Okay.
But yes, my name is AD. I'm a rapper from the MC from the Bronx. Shout out to Jay Zabri. Shout out to Sky's Question Radio. Shout out to Poet Will Be Televised. I'm just out here living my best life, and like basically just a lot of positivity around me, and a lot of good stuff is happening. You guys have seen it, and I'm happy to be part of the movement.
Cool.
So thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Is there anything that you're really excited about that you have going on right now? Like, y'all just had a big show at Pianos. How did that go?
It was amazing, and we actually had people from the subway come out to see us.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like a rock star. More on that later. And got some more gigs coming up. We're at Sylvanas every second Wednesday of the month. Holding
Filling
it
in
down,
for the
holding
poet,
it down.
yeah.
And we're out here.
Sweet.
Trainwalkers.
Thank you, Aiden.
Dupe.
I gave Jade a mic. Do you want an introduction?
She has to.
Jade is the brainchild behind Sky's Crescent Radio. She works the board and she produces all the shows. And she is also the leader of the Trainwalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to busk with people, so I invited them, and then I just was like, I already have people, so let's put them together.
Yeah. And now we all gig all the time. We were just on TV.
Yeah, our first official Trainwalkers gig was a TV gig.
We had a gig, a show, and then open mic. It's back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, the open mic was first. So
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So, but that was before we opened it up. Now we have
Yes.
6 people. Before that was just us. And I want more. Like, I want this to be a train walking thing.
It's a
You
movement.
can add all the string instruments from your college. You can add a string section.
I could. I know people. All right, let's do this.
We're gonna try to fit a string section on a subway car. Could you bust with a string section?
Well, you got a guitar.
I could do that.
Cool. Thank you for speaking this time, Jade.
You're welcome.
Next up is a beautiful caramel-colored man, hip-hop educator, MC extraordinaire, world traveler, education manager at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and my husband, McCallum Mean.
Hi, y'all.
How are you today?
Look
I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing well. I leveled up. I have a PS3 now.
Hey.
Much to my dismay.
No. It'll be good. It'll be good. She's like, no. I spend a lot of time.
What do you have going on?
What do I have going on? What can I talk about that I have going on?
You put out an album.
Put out the album.
Mhm.
That's old though now. They know
Yeah,
about
but
that.
it's gotten good reviews.
No, that's true. That's true. Just working on the next album though. But yeah, we just did the Passports, doing well. Actually, DJ Colcut from Bremen, Germany, did another master mix. I've been working with him for a long time. Shouts out to my boy Colcut out there in Bremen. About 5 years ago, he did the first mega mix. He basically took a lot of my joints that had been released in the last couple of years. At that time, in 2015, made like a 30-minute mix of some of his favorite verses and parts of the song. So he did it again this year, and kind of themed after what the Passport is the boarding pass. So it includes most of the Passport and then features that I've done with artists like Breeze Everflowing, Core Rhythm, Mankind, and then some other cats from like Switzerland and Germany as well. So you can actually check that out on Mixcloud. I'm also going to be featuring with an amazing woman, my wife, named Dale Novella.
Oh my gosh.
August 15th at Restoration Plaza at Skylight Open. It is free. Come check us out. It'll be the first time I've performed this summer. Kind of been laying low, working on a project with Willie Green. Hope to announce more about that in the fall. Then I have a big announcement. Probably it'll happen. Hopefully it'll happen right before September, but I don't like to talk about it because I don't have the contract yet. But it's let's just say I'll be doing something pretty cool at a very large museum somewhere in Manhattan. So
Ooh.
more details on that.
Might be on some Solange type shit.
Maybe. But I'll talk about that when I actually have a contract in my hand.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You didn't really have a choice.
I know.
And last, and certainly least,
Hey.
no, I'm joking. Last but not least, lyricist, host extraordinaire, everyone's favorite,
Baxter.
everyone's favorite Baxter, everyone's favorite ninja, the number one ninja, Baxter Wordsworth.
Hey, how are
you
you?
doing?
I'm doing okay. Very busy weekend. I'm a little tired.
Oh my!
But-
what have you been doing?
I went to a couple of shows. A friend of mine's had a going away thing. They're moving to Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, I know where
I'm
that is.
Doing this podcast. Yeah, it's close to South Carolina.
It is close to South Carolina.
Doing this podcast and then I have to run out because another friend of mine is in a play later at 7:00. So, but right now I'm here, and that's what I'm focused on. Oh,
Sweet.
coming up August 11th, I'll be performing at the Empire State Music Festival. I suppose.
Oh, sweet.
Where's that?
Where's the
Where is it?
performance?
Yeah.
Rubald is the name of the venue. I just went to check the address. It said secret location,
Ooh.
but it's in Brooklyn. I've been there before. I don't remember the location,
Or
but
is that Rubelade?
Yeah, I think that's the name of it.
Okay.
How much are the tickets?
Good question.
Are you doing a ticket giveaway?
No, I'm not. You get if you pay the entry fee, you'll get a free ticket. $15 looks like the tickets are. And
Okay,
it's a
how many?
festival. There's a lot of people performing.
So it's $15 for the entire night.
Yeah. Yes. A lot of people performing, of which I am one of.
So not just the number one ninja, but also other ninjas.
Other ninjas.
Number
of-
two and
of-
number three will be there.
Of lower rankings, yeah. Other ninja on the strata will be there, possibly.
Are the turtles gonna be there? No.
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Turtles.
They're special invited guests. The turtles, Naruto, the shinobi guy.
Okay.
These are random ninjas.
Can you explain to me how you became a ninja?
Training.
Training.
Yeah.
What does this training entail?
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
If everyone knew, everyone could be a ninja.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well then, it sounds like that was a very
Here we go.
hard thing that you had to do. No, I'm not doing what you think I'm about to do.
Okay.
But after you do something hard, you have to take a break.
Uh-huh.
Like Adrian mentioned, the Poet Will Be Televised is on a little break.
Yeah.
How do y'all give yourselves breaks? Like, I used to always take a day off from work, like, at least once a month and just go sit by a body of water, whether it was a lake or went to the beach or something like that. How do you take a break? How often do you take a break?
I purchased a Kit Kat.
Yeah. Well.
You purchase a Kit Kat?
Well, before I take a break, I actually just want to remind us that we have one other person here on this podcast.
True story.
World traveler,
Yep.
soul songstress. She
That's
always
right.
tries to get away with
She
this, but
does.
ain't nobody sleeping.
I have a lot on my mind.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, world-renowned singer and host, the incomparable Miss Dale Novella.
And she's a married woman.
And she's a married woman.
I am.
What's going on with you, real quick?
Well, I was at Jade Zabrick's house the other day working on some music.
Ooh.
So I think one of those songs that we were working on might be a single that I put out in the next couple months. I'm redoing my current single, Black Girl Magic, so I can finish up my video and put that out again. I'm chilling for the summer a little bit with The Poet Will Be Televised, but hopefully my relaxation from that will go into visiting more open mics, like the jam session that took the place of The Poet Will Be Televised for the next 6 months. The Trainwalkers Jam,
Yeah.
or EOW maybe. I like going to their finals, so I'll definitely be there. What else do I have going on? We have a couple ideas for a few showcases in the works. So just reaching out to venues, talking to different promoters about collaborating, and then I booked a couple days in the studio to finish some stuff. So yeah,
Sweet.
I'm doing stuff.
Sweet. Okay.
Oh, I have a show in Chicago. Yeah,
What?
Chicago.
at the end of the month. I forgot on the 29th. I have a So Far Sound show in Chicago. Yeah.
Sweet.
I don't know the address yet, of course,
Okay.
or the
Chicago,
neighborhood. So
that
you
seems
can-
like it's so far away.
it is far. It's in the middle of the country. Yeah,
And the top.
kind of. Yeah, it's northwestern, north midwestern, northern midwestern.
Right.
Okay, so real quick break. What do I do to take a break? Honestly, I try as much as possible to get off of my technology, specifically related to internet and social media.
That's a good idea.
That's what I try to do. I find myself, that probably is my number one stressor. Like, I realize, like, too much information, a lot of it that I don't really need nor want. But, you're just inundated with it. And, yeah, that's probably, like, my number one thing to, like, allow myself to sort of just kind of, like, chill out and calm.
Okay.
Word.
Is your mic on?
Maybe.
Oh.
Hello. Hello, I'm back. I said I would read a comic book or a manga.
A graphic novel.
Okay.
Yeah. Or watch a movie. Possibly
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Because it's
It's a very good movie.
inspired. It was a comic book, right?
Well,
Scott Pilgrim
sort of. The graphic novel and the
is a
movie
graphic novel,
were made
okay.
at the same time.
Oh.
In tandem.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Interesting.
Right.
Martin?
What's
What do
that?
you do to take a break?
To take a break, basically as a drummer, we're moving a lot between the city here in New York, and so I usually take a nap. I'm also sometimes watching movie or series on Netflix.
What's your
Uh,
favorite type of movie? Like your favorite genre of movie?
Genre of movie, I like action. I like also like funny movie, like humorist movie, and yeah. I recently watched again The Big Lebowski. I love that movie.
The Big
I
Lebowski.
don't
Classic.
think I've ever actually seen
Yeah.
that movie.
It's a classic.
Cult classic,
It's
yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AD.
Jay knows this. My video games, that's my escape.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I could get lost in there. So I try to live with myself, and I guess like the most productive way to try to relax is to just stay busy. So like just little stuff around the house, like do my laundry, like clean dishes, clean my room. Like just
Yeah.
keep moving, and something that I know is like, all right, I did that, I'm good.
Right.
Cool.
The little things,
Yeah. It is the little things. And a lot of people are currently have that at the front of their name, but this next act just has an L. This L book with Untitled.
Mm.
Wait, what about?
I don't even know what this poem is called, but just vibe with me. The days, the weeks, the months, and all the years slowly pass, but filled with my tears. You never cared to tell me you love me, never show me affection, no kiss, and never hugged me. All the things you didn't say, the time you caused the pain won't wash away. A million number deaths that you have died, and a million number tears that I have cried. I've tried and I've tried, but you were never satisfied. You were always so complicated, and my life with you was always so frustrated. Of all the things I didn't see, all because your love blinded me. I thought I couldn't live without you, but now I feel sick when I think about you, and all I wanted was some rejection, and all you gave me was a lot of attention, and you was a good man, but you ripped my heart out and left it burning in my hand, and I never could understand how you always wanted the second, third, and fourth chance. When I see your face, you darken the space in my heart, and at times I wish we were apart, but it's not easy to let go, and I thought your love was for sure, but now I just feel so low, and I hate you. I hated you first day I laid eyes on you, kissed you, held you, and made love to you. I always hated you and I always will, but I guess I'll keep hating you of the same reasons why. I love you.
All right, so that was L Book with Untitled, and she was talking about some, probably some toxic love. And I declared on Facebook the other day that I don't really forgive people, which is true. I don't really. I mean, even if I'm nice to you afterward, like the relationship is irreparable. It's irreparable.
You are a Virgo.
Do not.
I am a Virgo, and someone
get
tried to
on
tell me
Dale's
Virgos don't
bad
do
side.
that, but like no, Virgos we always remember.
Two?
There we go. I didn't. I just started speaking and it messed up again.
Okay,
But who
so-
said Virgos
but
don't do that? One of my ex-girlfriends is a
Someone,
Virgo.
Samantha Echo, who's another busker that we know, and pianist, vocalist. She was like, no, Virgos aren't known for that. And I was like, I don't know about that, because we don't never forgive anything, and we're very judgmental. We're not well, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
say
are.
we're judgmental. We're critical.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily judgmental, because I feel like judgmental is good or bad, and not like you could improve on this. Like, I don't be telling people they're morally wrong or anything, But, that's me. We've all been in like bullshit relationships and had like bullshit friendships or whatnot. And where we constantly had to forgive people, even if we didn't realize it.
My headphones are out. Oh, no. Now they're back.
But
Sorry.
But now you can't hold the mic like a rapper.
Technical
To back up a little bit.
difficulties.
So, is this logical? Like, have y'all ever been in this situation where you?
So wait,
it was-
what's logical specifically?
To be critical, Judgmental?
No, I mean, like, why are we like this? Not necessarily to be like critical or judgmental, but like constantly forgiving people if they hold a special place in us, like in relationships or parents or like, why
Value.
are we doing this?
I think
Value.
I think it's tough, right? Because it's funny because I was just looking at a status of mine from like a few years ago, and it kind of speaks to this, like the idea of like action and intention.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is, to me, is the reason why we continue to forgive people, even when it seemingly seems as if they don't deserve it, is because for that period of time, that person has a value in our life, a value that we feel is necessary. So we'll overlook certain things, or we'll, just kind of like downgrade maybe the level of hurt or whatever have you. But it's also a little tricky too, because I think there's a level of, I don't know the right words I want to use, but oftentimes when we're hurt, it's very difficult for us to think about it from like a rational place. Like when we're hurt, we're thinking from an emotional place, which isn't wrong, but it does skew the action and the perception of things. So sometimes
definitely.
we don't want to forgive because we're so hurt and we're not thinking about all of the factors involved,
and
or even just like, what I'm thinking this is.
We can't be unbiased.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking this is may not even have been in the realm of thinking of the person. So I think a lot of that goes into why we forgive, even when it seemingly seems as if this person is constantly doing X to us, or seems to have a certain attitude or habits that are just not good for us. It really comes back down to, at some point, that person has a value that we just feel is necessary for us to have in our own lives. So we try to find ways to maintain that relationship, and we'll look past certain things.
And I think it all depends on what you think forgiveness is. You know what I'm saying? Because forgiveness like being okay with something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or is it forgiveness like, because forgiveness is internal. It's you, It doesn't matter what's going on with him, and it's not necessarily your relationship with him. It's kind of like, am I still hurt, or am I still affected by this thing that happened? You know what I'm saying? Because you can forgive somebody and still not be okay with what they did. And you can forgive somebody and not fuck with them. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think the forgiveness is like allowing it to kind of like, not allowing it to not affect you, but like, I guess the understanding that or maybe removing the blame of it all, right? Like this person might be hurt themselves. Hurt people, right? And it's like, and I understand that they're hurt, and I understand, like, maybe I understand the rationale that went behind what they did, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't blame them because, like, I understand their circumstance. But that still was some fucked up shit, and I'm still not fucking with them. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like genuine forgiveness. I think what people chase often is this feeling of things being okay between two people. Like, I want things to be okay between us. It's like,
or to go back to normal.
Right.
To normal, quote unquote.
Or to have somebody not hold what they did against them. Like, and it's like, sometimes that's impossible. Some people do things. It's like shit that's always going to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and it's funny. I think if I'm hearing you right, I totally agree in terms of, when you're forgiving someone, it's more about healing the hurt inside of you. So the effect isn't something that's immediate and ongoing. Like, you can recognize, like, at that moment, at this instance, this person did X that hurt me, but you're not reliving the hurt constantly every time you're with them or interact with them. But yeah, absolutely. That doesn't mean, okay, I forgive you, so now we're like cool. It's like, no. We're good.
Right.
I don't have to actually associate with you, but I also don't have to constantly feel like every time I see you or hear
I have to
from
go
you,
through the
I'm like, I'm angry and upset, and I'm back in this place that you might have put me in however many time ago. And that's where the forgiveness is. If you're reliving that hurt over and over again, and oftentimes that person has moved on from that. Many times they don't even realize. They don't even think that anything's happened.
A lot of times that's our relationship with our parents, right? Our parents might have done something or said something to us when we were young, and we're like, "You fucked me, you fucked me up for the rest of my life." And they're like, "What are you talking about? I don't even remember saying that." It's like, but the forgiveness is understanding that your parents aren't perfect. And they were doing the best thing that they could. So it's like, all right, that one time that I wanted you to tell me everything was okay and you didn't, and now I'm like emotionally wounded. You were just doing the best you could, and I get that,
Right.
Yeah.
and I got to live with that.
What do you think, Jade? Yeah.
Jade's like, burn them all.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I don't like to. I'll forgive to get to let me move on, but I'll never talk to someone again that fucks me over. No. They're
Yeah.
dead to
Just
me.
cut them off.
What about you, Martin?
Oh, for me, well, that's interesting, you know. I remember I was in Boston. I mean, I don't know if I should really talk about that.
No?
I mean, you can change the names and dates to protect the innocent
Yeah.
or guilty.
Yeah, I had a really crazy roommate. You know, he grew up like he was born in India but
Mhm.
grew up in Canada,
Okay.
and his mental was completely different. Like
Mhm.
none like mine, like as a real European, you know. But
Yeah.
and so I was at in Boston at that time, and he was studying at Berkeley, and I was working on some English stuff because my English was not so good, and all the time, you know, he talks about like F1 stuff, and I was talking about music because we were at Berkeley, you know, and
Yeah.
was the goal also to, and we never have something shared, and one day he just became completely crazy and out of his mind because the school was giving too much assignment, and he
Mhm.
said, you know what, I don't give a shit about your music, about the way you sing, about like Baba was
Wow.
really fucking rude, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna brace, you're gonna
Right.
just think about what's wrong with you, or like,
Right.
Mhm.
and I didn't know what to say, but I tried to forgive that, to have at least some forgiveness, and but it was impossible, you know, and so I had to have other friends who can help me to make that calm,
Right,
know,
right.
to try to make everything in order and coming back to the reality and not
Mhm.
being enemies for
Yeah. For the
yeah,
rest of the time
and
you
then-
live with them, yeah.
yeah. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. But you're better than me because I wouldn't even try it. I would have just went.
I don't know.
Just like, oh, okay, you don't give a fuck? Okay, I don't either. Just pay your rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, not specific to your question, but related because we're still on forgiveness. I think something that I try to remember too is, the other side of forgiveness. Obviously, I think the most important part is like healing yourself and recognizing like whatever this was or is has happened. Like you've processed it, you've gotten the emotional processing down, you've got the intellectual lack of a better term, processing down, and you've kind of moved on for yourself so that you can kind of continue to live in the present as opposed to living in this other place. But from the external standpoint, I think, and this might be me being selfish, I might be revealing something about myself, but I also want to forgive because I want to believe and hope that someone will take actions that I've done and think about those things and forgive me as well. And not to say that because I want to have a relationship with them, but I feel like I'm someone who strives to always do the never intending to hurt or harm, but knowing that I can and will, and hoping that if and when those lines are crossed by me, unbeknownst to me, that someone has the capacity within themselves to reflect on those actions. And again, not say my actions were okay or like now, we have to go back to being who we are. But hopefully that they're not still living in that moment. So like I think about that, and it's not a one-to-one reciprocal per se.
Right.
But as a person who would like to be forgive, that helps me try to be a forgiving person. Because I've definitely been in spaces in my life where other people's actions, real or otherwise perceived, has actually put me in a place that has kept me completely like stagnant, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. So while I'm kind of living in this sort of like suspended animation of like anger and hurt, and like every time I see their name, it's like, fuck this person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like having, revenge fantasies, like how can I fuck them over? I can't wait if I get the shot, I'm fucking them over.
Right.
And it's meanwhile like day sunny for them. They live in life. They're doing whatever they're doing. And not even like to like make me feel bad. Like, haha, look what I'm doing. They're just living life.
Right.
And I had to come to a realization of like, oh, you know what? That thing happened. It was real, and I deserve to feel that. But how much is this affecting me now? How much can I do now? So that, I mean, when you were talking about, I mean, forgiveness for me is that, but I also realize like if you're not a forgiving person, potentially, not saying, because I know you've been very public, you don't forgive. It can also make you a very dangerous person if you don't forgive, because then you might.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, no, because you know what, and we're getting a little. I'm getting a little deep into my own like spiritual beliefs and practices, but I'm very much in like everything that we touch and do affects everything else. It's like ripples of water. So if you're someone. Potentially, not saying definitely, but potentially, if you're someone who doesn't have that capacity to forgive or puts conditions on forgiving, then your actions are always a step off of what can be. And that means that your speech, your intentions, everything could be slightly askew because your focus is on something that's actually no longer real. And you might not even realize it until you have that reflection. And you could be doing harm not only to other people, but to yourself as well, because you're operating in a space of this sort of like, not, I don't want to say false reality, but like it's a reality that doesn't exist.
It's like it's skewed. Someone once said, "Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the enemy dies."
Yes, real.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's real.
Because the grudge is all in you. You know what I'm saying? You're like poisoning yourself, hoping that one day they'll feel it. Yeah. One day they'll know how much I hate them.
And I think we know when people are active. You know, I think we know when people are actionable, you know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, wow, you really out here to try to take mine. That's different than someone who, whatever happened, whatever relationship happened, and then y'all moved on from it, and they're just living their life.
Well, speaking of taking things, at one point, Haiti took back their freedom, or took their freedom, because before they didn't have any freedom, from France. And we're going to hear Osiris Anthem talk a little bit about that.
1791. August 22nd, France will learn the first of what was many lessons that you don't enslave people after fighting for your freedom that makes you hypocritical promoters of oppression. That went from Bastille Day to real hate. That's evolution. Try to destroy our spirit, we would never lose it. My ancestors made a cipher with a better union. This is the story of the Haitian Revolution. Rain falling, God's calling for our... So hold on. When I say, so I like breaking down bars. I'm going to break this down. When I say rain falling, God's calling for our liberation, what's the interesting point is the revolution was supposed to start at a later date, but when the Africans was preparing for it, it rained that night, and they thought it was a sign from the gods that it's time to get this shit popping right now. So when the rain started falling, they was like, let's get it. Rain falling, God's calling for our liberation. Killing white children, that's karma for our tribulations. They aborted our babies and fed them to dogs, so we don't give a fuck, nah, nigga, not at all. Coupe tête bullet guy. You vibe with me, nigga, that means cut their heads off, set fire to these niggas. We rising out of prison, surprise them with the rhythm. Pray to African gods and colliding with the Christians. Guerrilla warfare, laying wait, it was slow to start, but we ain't going back. Like Rosa Parks, sac passe, hear the battle cries going hard, kill them dogs 2 by 2, like it's Noah's Ark, 400 years. Since the days of Joan of Arc, stained glass royalty, now it's broken shards. Even Napoleon Bonaparte got torn apart. White bodies dropping like Owen Hart. My condyle in the spirit. Mosquitoes killing creatures. Malaria. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know about the Haitian Revolution at all, right? One of the biggest reasons why these Africans, so they went up against the French, like the French, my nigga. Like Napoleon was LeBron James of this war shit back in the day, right? These niggas didn't have no training, but they still was able to just finesse and beat them. How? One big reason was, like Sun Tzu says, in the Art of War, know the lay of the land. These French they was tourists. They didn't know shit about the land, but the Haitians knew it very well. Number 2, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes was killing people like crazy. It's either malaria, yellow fever. You get different accounts depending on what you're reading. But the mosquitoes was killing the French soldiers so heavily that was like one of the biggest X factors in the war. And it was like the Haitians believed that there's this brother named Macandal who was one of their old school, like maybe 50, 100 years before this revolution. He was like on somebody and shit before. He was like putting poison in white people's food and shit. And they believed he came back as a mosquito that was representing, which is fly, right? So, yeah. My Kandala in the spirit. Mosquitoes killing creatures. Malaria, yellow fever. This level's ether. Toussaint Louverture with a special leader. And he ain't been getting no medals either. We lost so many family and friends in the heat. The sacrifices made to the mission was complete. These black slaves fought and would not accept defeat. This is the new nation. IET. And that's it.
So that was Osiris Anthem, our April feature at the Poet Will Be Televised with the talking about the Haitian Revolution.
Osiris champion.
Osiris, the champion, two-time champion, world champion for End of the Week
Yes,
Hip Hop
sir.
Challenge that backs the Wordsworth.
He won in France last year.
He won in
Paris,
France.
Paris,
Yeah.
France.
Paris, France.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. The Western Hemisphere still has like an obsession with their colonizers, right? Like specifically Haiti still has this relationship financially tied up with France, but also speaking French in Haiti and a lot of the former colonies is seen like you're seen as you're smarter than if you're speaking whatever dialect is in that country, right? And America kind of does this too. Like when we watch television, and the English characters are usually much more posh and like professional than the American characters, were always more brash, which is not necessarily true. If you've ever been to England, you like they can be pretty fucking hood. Like English people will cut you a lot quicker than I think Americans would. So that's not necessarily true, but we have this like obsession with them. We have and just more like European society tends to be put on a pedestal above American society, and I think that's true with a lot of colonized areas.
I think
why?
that's pushed on us. Like, not necessarily that we
Yeah.
like it. It's just they're
It's
doing
pushed on it. It's the story, yeah. But why is that story still being told? Why are we not being told like,
Oh, I mean,
you know, fuck that shit?
institutions, like like this stuff isn't just like surface level. It's like the roots go deep. So it's like when we were younger, all of us, we were taught like we were never, the colonies even to this day are never depicted as anything evil or wrong or tragic. Like
Yeah.
America's creation is only celebrated. It's like everything was fantastic. We built a bunch of railroads. We like colonized the Western Hemisphere, manifest destiny. So it isn't until you're older and you can actually do the mental work to kind of figure out like, oh no, this wasn't a good time for everybody. And then like even then the seeds are still planted. Like you still look at England or London or Portugal or Spain or any of these colonizing countries, kind of what like, oh, they were courageous people who set out and discovered new worlds. Like, it's like, wait, no. They were like...
They were brutal adventure seekers, and they were probably narcissists.
Right, who went out, who went out there and like, and this might be a little bit scandalous or whatever, but like, you look at continents, the entire continent of America, the entire continent...
Both continents. Right?
Well, specifically the north one, and the entire continent of Australia was filled with brown people, and it ain't today. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I hate to use a cliche, but the victors write the story.
Right. Absolutely right.
Victors write the story. For me, it's that simple, and I think that and this isn't hugely accurate because we know that basically black, brown, and indigenous people had been here long before anyone who was quote unquote European. But oftentimes, speaking about institutions, it's interesting. I work at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and it often touts it doesn't really say so much on its stages, but it definitely in its formal communications and writings lauds the fact that it's 156 or 160 years old. I just was at the University Settlement. The co-artistic director with Baba Israel on the stage announced that it is the oldest community settlement in the United States, 137 years old. We take pride in things that are old and have aged. So when we're talking about this conversation with the United States, especially in relation to Europe, there's always this sort of like little brother mentality. It's funny because a lot of this you're talking about has been playing out for several years because I don't know if everybody remembers a controversy around there was this huge rift with black British actors getting all of
Yes,
these American
yes.
roles,
Yeah.
and like black actors having this pushback against it, and there was this dialogue around it, and it was interesting because one of the arguments, not all of them, but a couple of the British actors talked about their classical training and
Mhm.
Shakespearean theater,
Yeah.
and it speaks to this idea about, if we came before you, you're learning everything from us, and it is that colonial mindset, and it is this idea of power.
Right.
I think that really kind of drives that idea. So, the lesson we know in modern times is, if you win, and you win in any and all costs, you get to determine how I'm portrayed, how you're portrayed, how anything in the world's portrayed, whether or not there's any fact to it, whether there's any type of analysis to it to really see and understand, like, is it better? Is it worse? Is there room for all of it to be on, an equal platform or plane?
Mhm.
Right.
I think it really just boils down to that.
Yeah. You don't know?
Well, like it from the media, we are treated like we are the little brother of Britain, and I don't like that. I think that Britain and England, who's the one who messed up the whole world, and nobody like really cares. We just still love them.
Yeah.
I was just, as we're talking about this, I was thinking of a skit that I seen by Trevor Noah, where he's like
Mhm.
pretty much mocking how like imperialism is just like the super extended version of like just cockiness. Like
Yeah.
like he was saying how like the British are like, we're so awesome, let's do this everywhere. So like
Yeah,
they're just so full of
basically.
themselves that they wanted to take over South Africa,
South Africa,
You know,
Australia, India.
everything.
And it's
But
but it's
well, Australia was actually a penal
Prison.
colony. It
Prison
was a
colony,
prison.
yep.
They
So everyone
dumped-
they didn't
yeah.
like, they just dumped.
like,
yeah.
Earlier today we were
Or
talking
in
about
space.
like military bases that we have all over the world.
Yeah.
Now, we're not imperializing, are we? But we're it's the same thing. It's a power thing.
well,
We're
yeah,
trying.
yeah.
It's a
I mean,
strategic thing that we're doing. you know what?
We're
I'm gonna take
not-
that back.
We're
but
not
yeah,
necessarily exporting our people and creating settlements, but we're trying to export
Like
our
you-
culture
you said,
and
like,
make
a
those
strategic
people
thing
believe our
that the
culture
military's
is better
doing.
than this.
Oh,
Yeah, better
making
than
sure that we're
theirs.
everywhere.
yeah.
well, I mean,
But
Yeah.
it's just the blueprint model of what we learned from the British.
it's a little
Yeah,
it's
fair
a, it's a,
enough.
it's a little
It's like,
different.
We
Only
got Guam. Like, okay, it's like
Yeah,
all the way
people-
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and the Mariana Islands, which are close to like Australia, I was like, I didn't know we had land next to Australia. I think that's where it is, but
Yeah.
it's more like in like Polynesia. Yeah, like
Yeah.
no.
We never like to hear this, but the truth of the matter is, by all stretches of measure, we are the imperial power in the
I
world.
mean,
Yeah, right now,
yeah.
yeah.
We are the imperial power.
I don't even think it's that we don't like to hear it. It's just that we don't hear
I
it.
don't think that it's what we don't like to hear. I don't think that we like to hear that we're losing it.
Yeah,
That's
for
true.
most Americans,
Well-
yeah, they like that we're
I'm-
on top.
I'm
Yeah.
cool with that.
But the losing it is even like I think just things are just more abstract now, right? Because like the power used to be in military infrastructures. Like if
Yeah.
you had the stronger military, then nobody fucked with you. But now it's like things have kind of like navigated to like this sort of corporate world, right? Like companies are what really make things happen and really make things move.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that McDonald's can get into any country is like more of a testament of like
Yeah.
America's influence around the world. Like there's what country is that in South America that kicked all the McDonald's out of the country?
I think it's Venezuela.
Right, like like shit like that is like a revolution. It's like
Yeah.
get all of your, because even in America it's like our companies are so unchecked and ran rampant that they're poisoning their own people.
Yeah.
Like Monsanto and all that stuff is
Yeah.
like money means more than
Or like
health.
10 years ago when all the fast food chains were like, now made with real chicken. Well, what the fuck were you giving us before?
Right.
What the fuck was it before? It was
Right.
fake chicken
And
from
it's,
somewhere.
and it's like even military stuff, like they'll move because companies need things to happen. Like the freaking the entire war in Iraq was was rooted around fucking this dude Cheney. His company that he only stepped down to be the vice president got most of the contracts that when they started rebuilding Iraq.
Halliburton.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? It's like companies with these old powerful white men used to move the world through like military, and now they move it through companies.
Well, we started this conversation with France. Martin, do you
And
have
I'll
an
never
opinion
forgive them.
Yeah, about a story between
Between-
US and France, or like
Well, just yeah, come a little closer. I know
Yeah, sorry.
drummers don't usually get a mic. It's kind of hard to like speak and drum. We get it, but yeah, you got to speak into the mic. But yeah, the
Yeah,
relationship
shit
between
yeah,
I mean,
I
'cause
know.
I remember when I first moved to New York, I used to go to a lot of like French meetup groups.
Yeah,
To like try to practice my French. And I remember talking to someone at a French guy at one of these meetups, and he was like, I forget that there are other countries that speak French.
yeah.
Because like we just don't talk about the colonies. Like, so I told him I have never, at that point I think I spent like one day in France. I was like, but I've been to Morocco, and he was like, I completely forgot Moroccans speak French. Like, so
Because it's all about all the stories that exist before I was born, you know,
Mhm.
or,
Right.
or you were born actually. So yeah, I could say that like when for instance, sometimes when I'm coming back to Paris,
Mhm.
just for a few days or weeks to see my parents and having fun with my friends, and then when I go back here, the always tough moment is the custom. And because I'm not American, so I have
Mhm.
to prove what I'm doing here, so what I'm gonna do. So
Right.
everything is really, really precise.
Mhm.
But when you're coming back to your country, you know, you don't have to worry anything about it because they knew that you are American, right?
Mhm.
And it's the only different. I mean, I'm struggling now because on what they say was really interesting, and
Right.
I don't know where to put it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But do you I don't know, do you have any feelings about the global image of America or even the global image of France?
Yeah, I think in America, yeah, everything works by business
Mhm.
even more. Like as
Baxter.
Baxter.
Baxter was really interesting about poisoning people with McDonald's.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of right, and instead of selling some good food, selling even more money, you know, like having more money from that, and otherwise in France we still have your businesses like McDonald's, Quick, Burger King as well,
Yeah.
but it's
You can't really get French
we
stuff
can
here.
we not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, now I think the French people becoming in between. Like, all the young people are going more often to McDonald's or those kind of
Oh.
bad fast food.
Mhm.
But
and-
even the
and fo-
McDonald's is different in France.
Yeah,
Yeah.
McDonald's everywhere is different. They like tailor their
Right.
menu to kind of fit
Yeah.
the culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're still strict on the food, how to make it, how it takes time,
Mhm.
how much we have to cook. No less,
Yeah.
no more, just the right time to make it really tasty. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's
And
different
here
here.
I got an experience of that. I was in 14th Street. I was at Slice and Co. and was like a pizza. I think $99 pizza. Nine cents.
Yeah, no, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
Dollars pizza, and the guy is like, I asked like I think like a veggies pizza, you know,
Yeah.
and he added like something else on top of it, and it was too grilled. Like, I'm like, dude, it's so hot. Could you make it a little bit colder than
Yeah.
that? And I found it too crunchy. It's not doesn't
Get a request
sound
at the
like
Yeah.
99 cents.
Yeah.
a pizza, you know. I'm
Yeah.
And the
It
man
doesn't-
quality pizza.
Like, yeah.
what
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
that's what I really makes change in my life when I saw those things here and
Mhm.
comparing to France.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Do you think? What do y'all think will happen at the I guess the end of America's imperial reign? Do you think it will go on? Are we like Rome, where it just keeps imagining itself, but we're still on top? Or
Oh yeah, I never thought about that, but yes. Yeah,
because I mean
they're
we're
still
on the
big-headed.
brink of being
We're
a monarchy
definitely
with
still gonna
Trump.
be big-headed. Yeah.
Like Trump might decide he's emperor and just write an executive order, and it's just done.
But I feel like there's America is an interesting country, right? Because one, it's huge, right? Like,
Yeah.
what other countries have this much size and this much population? You know what I'm saying?
I think India's taking over.
Yeah,
Right,
they're
right, right.
India,
They're definitely
India
next.
and China are.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
but
think China wants to.
but what I'm
I
saying, what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
They could. They
I mean,
definitely
'cause-
could, but I don't think
well-
they want to. I think India
Well,
would. do
China.
it.
The interesting thing about China is the name they actually call China means like the great country or something. They don't call China China. Like that's a name someone else gave them. So like what they call China is the great country. So I can imagine, yeah, like they
But-
believe they should take over the world.
But my point was and in America, like the culture of America is crazy different depending on where you go. Like Southern
Yeah.
culture versus the West Coast versus like like around New Orleans versus like the Midwest.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very rare that we're all on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So like we do
Sure.
like this Trump administration has shown us a lot of crazy shit. But then equally, there's people who like realize that it's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's like a bunch of people who's like, yeah, make America great. And there's a bunch of people who are like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if either of these sort of perspectives there's not a clear winner. I wouldn't be shocked if this country goes to complete shit. But I also wouldn't be shocked if like people banded together
Yeah.
and like did something to like stop it. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like this shit can go either way. You know what I'm saying?
Just to add on that real quick, just so like we have the capability of either creating something great or ruining stuff, because no matter what, we run stuff. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking it back to my borough. You know, look what we created back in the 70s, and
Yeah.
our stuff, it's all over the
But
world.
you have to explain. So
Okay.
you're from the Bronx,
Yes, I am.
and the Bronx created hip hop.
Yes.
And hip hop has
It's
taken
everywhere.
over the world.
So like not even just, you know, my borough, like, you know, like we got music from Texas, you know, we got California culture, like it's everywhere. I think I seen a YouTube video of Japanese people embracing what is it, the
Copying,
cholo
like cholo
culture.
culture, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
like,
I've
you know,
seen,
we're running
like
things, man.
Filipino,
Yeah.
quote unquote, cholos too. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's just what I wanted to add. So like I said, we could either make good or fuck shit up.
Right.
Our time is almost over, and I wanted to ask everyone a real quick question. Just try to make it as
Succinct?
as possible, as short as possible. What is your cloud nine?
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
what's your happy place? Sorry, what's your cloud nine? So what's your happy place? My happy place is, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, like being near the water, being near the beach, being at peace.
My happy time is gonna be staying here
Staying
and
here
playing
Yeah.
and playing.
all the time, meet people, and have a different feeling of what is music here.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Because when I'm in my country, it's like many people say you don't need to go to United States. You could still have a lot of things in France. We have
Mhm.
everything, and I'm like, are you serious? No, I don't think so. You have everything.
Like I
You
said,
need
we
to
run
get the information from where it was born. Like, I am really interested into jazz, into like Afro-Cuban, and all of those were really born into like kind of almost all over New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, and so many people told me that, and others were like, try to just avoid that, and it's like try to convince me to stay with them, and I'm
Nah.
like, no, I want to
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
experience something, and it's important.
It is important to know exactly where the art comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my happy time.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
Let's just go around the circle just
Got it.
to make
Sure.
sure everyone says something.
So yeah, like just in the artist community that I'm already a part of, you know, keeping the movement going. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Jade.
Honestly, like when I'm smoking, when I have that first hit and it's like real clean and nice, that's right
Nice
there.
and clean.
That's good.
Nice, clean weed smoke. Cool.
It's been a happy place for me at times. Not so much anymore. I mean, I have a lot. There's more than one, so I'll just pick one. Of course, with you.
Oh, I knew you were smart.
But also,
Solomon.
I just like peace. I like silence. Ironically enough, my life's so hectic, and I'm usually around a lot of people, and I enjoy people, and I enjoy that energy. But I realize, like, as I've gotten older, I just prefer. It doesn't have. It could be in the house. It could be on a beach. It could be in the woods. But just some place where, like, I just can not have to think or do. I can just whatever's happening is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's probably like my most happy place, where I can just decide how much I want to engage and how much I don't, because I feel like a lot of my life is I have to engage whether I'm up for it or not. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Baxter.
You know, I have no fucking idea. I was thinking about it, and I think it's been changing a lot. And like, there's places that I feel very content, but I don't know about happy.
You're not happy with your cat?
I love my cat. Is she happy with me though? That's the real question. No, I mean, I'm happy with my cat, but I don't know if that's like the hierarchy of my happy place. But you know what? I'll get back to you on that. We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out. But Tatiana Owens is going to talk about being on cloud 9, or a happy cloud. And we'll talk to y'all next time on the Poet Podcast.
Killing me with emotion, killing me with the notion that we'll work itself out one day. But you work it like dominoes, the wrong way will unfold. Everything you said will be okay. Look who you've been kicking it with lately. No one tell you can't have any fun. Moving ahead with or without you, baby. 'Cause I know time doesn't wait for anyone. When you're feeling down, seeing shadows all around, hold your head up high, find a happy feeling inside. Nothing can compare to the feeling in the air. When you're sitting high on your happy cloud, the story who doesn't love feeling free, the only ones that can't see the beauty of a positive mind. When you don't